today we're doing lesson 3.16, tenths and hundredths together. All right, so we've gone over the math warm-up, and now we are on to page 80. It says, complete the table with equivalent fractions in tenths or hundredths. In the last row, write a new pair of equivalent fractions. So in the first square, they gave us 1/10, and they want us to tell how many hundredths that is. Fisher? Jackson?
10 hundredths.
How did you know, Jackson?
So all you have to do is add the 0 to the 1 and 1 over 2.
If you add a 0 to the bottom, you have to add a 0 to the top. That's all we're doing today, guys. Adding zeros, taking away zeros. Okay? So here we go. Jackson, you can give yourself a point. So 10 hundredths goes in this box. Okay. For B, we have 4/10. Olivia, what would that be equal to in hundredths? Say it out loud. Okay, what is the difference between this and this? This one has an extra 0, right? What is the difference between this and this? Huh? And this one has an extra 0, right? So given that, you added an extra 0 to make it 100 on the bottom. If you do it to the bottom, so what would this be? Huh? 4/10. You're going to add a 0 to the top and the bottom. What's that give you? Avis, what would it give you? 40 hundredths. You add a 0 to the back of the 4 and the back of the 10. Okay? So 40 hundredths. Does that make sense? Okay. Cameron, what about this one? 6/10 equals how many hundredths?
60 hundredths.
Good, yes. 60 hundredths. Zerelda, 50 hundredths is equal to what?
50 hundredths equal to 5/10.
Yes, girl. Okay. Todd, 90 hundredths is equal to what?
9/10.
Very good. Okay. Haziel, 12/10 is equal to what? Very good. That's exactly right. 120 hundredths. Is this making sense to you now? Okay. Mary, 200 hundredths would equal what?
22.
Very good. Yes. 20 tenths. Okay. Fisher, 2 and 3/10 would equal what?
2 and 30 hundredths.
Very good. Yes. 2 and 30 hundredths. Okay. The next one is tricky. Okay. I'll let you guys tell me in a second. So on this one, we have 125 hundredths, and we got to figure out how many tenths that would be. Athena?
I was going forward and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Colton?
25 tenths.
We can't just randomly drop off a 1.
12 tenths.
We can't randomly drop off a 5.
125 tenths.
No, we can't randomly drop off a 0. We got to do it to the bottom and top. Jackson?
12 and a half.
Yeah. Nice job. It is 12.5. Devin, is your mind blown?
Kind of.
Uh-huh. So let me show you why this works this way. Because if we're taking away a 0, it means we're dividing by 10, right? So that would be like saying 125 divided by 10. How many groups of 10 can you make out of 125? Well, you can go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. There's 10. 110, 120. There's 12. But I only have to go up 5 more. So all numbers, all whole numbers have an invisible decimal point behind them. Have you guys ever seen on a calculator that it's got a 0 with a decimal point when you first open it up?
Like 0.000.
Well, just 0 point. That's when you push clear or push power on a calculator. It shows this. Every number, sit up please. Every number, including 125, has an invisible decimal point behind it. So, when you divide by 10, it's the same thing as moving that decimal point one place. And we'll get into that a lot more later. But this is what I want you to write down for now. 12.5 tenths. Okay? And then, now I'm going to pull a stick and let somebody make up one for all of us to write down. Colton.
5 and 112.
Okay, it has to either be a tenth or a hundredth. We're putting it here and here.
2 and 5 tenths.
2 and 5 tenths. So that goes here. Colton, what goes in the other spot?
2 and 50 tenths. Hundredths.
There you go. 2 and 50 hundredths. Very good.
We already have that.
Nope, we have 2 and 3 tenths, not 5. Okay. Now, the next one says, name some fractions that are between 50 hundredths and 60 hundredths. So if you have a number line and that's 50 hundredths and this is 60 hundredths, what are some fractions that might be in between? Jackson? 52 hundredths, yes. What might be another one, Emma?
5,700.
Yep, 57 hundredths. Okay, and then Jackson, give yourself a point. Ari? 5,500. Mary? 5,800. Jackson? 5,300. Todd?
5,900.
5,900. Zerelda?
69. No.
No.
56.
5,600.
Does that count as a point?
Yep. Macy?
51.
Yes. 51 hundredths. And Hazel. Yep, 54 hundredths. That's all of them, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna write down. 51 hundredths, 52 hundredths, 53. Geralda, pick up your pencil and start writing. 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. I got a new stylus and I'm super excited about it. It works really good. This thing. Since my other one broke, this one is,
I thought your charger was.
it was like $30 and my husband doesn't know.
Now he watches
Silence if you're
Okay.
watching this.
I know, that's right. He doesn't watch my videos. I need to make him watch my videos, don't I? Okay, now this one's gonna take some thinking. Turn on your thinking cap.
Okay.
Okay. So now we've got to name fractions that are between 3/10 and 4/10. Evan,
3.5 tenths.
you're right. Okay, let's do that. 3.5 tenths. Fisher?
3.4 tenths.
Yes. Let's look at this though and see how we could make it more like the first problem. Oh, you guys are right. Todd, what do you think? No, Evan already got that. Jackson? What can we do to make this easier to figure out?
You could put a 0 at the end of them
At the end of all 4 of them, right?
to make 30 hundredths and 40 hundredths.
Yes. Because we know that between 3 and 4 tenths, there are hundredths in between, right? Because we can make lines, 10 lines in between. So here's what we're gonna write. We're gonna write between 30 hundredths and 40 hundredths. So now, Evan said 3.5 hundredths, or 3.5 tenths. And that's the same as 35 hundredths, okay? And then Fisher said 34, or 3.4 tenths. That's the same as 34 hundredths. So see how if we add those zeros, it's easier to think of how many are in between 30 and 40 than it is between 3 and 4. You with me?
Yeah.
You understand it, Macy? Okay. All right, so write this down. 31 hundredths, 32 hundredths, 33 hundredths, 36 hundredths, 37 hundredths, 38 hundredths, 39 hundredths. Zerelda, I don't see your pencil moving. Be prepared to explain your reasoning. All we need to write on this one is to explain that 3/10 is equal to 30 hundredths and 4/10 is equal to 40 hundredths. We're getting ready to go on, so those of you that don't have this written down need to hustle it up. Okay. All right, so 3/10 equals 30 hundredths and 4/10 equals 40 hundredths. Turning on to the next page. Walk, stop, and sit. Noah walks 2/10 of a kilometer, stops for a drink of water, then walks 5/100ths of a kilometer and takes another sip of water. Which number line diagram represents the distance Noah walked? Okay, look at those two number line diagrams. And I'm going to have everybody raise their hand in a minute to tell me which one you choose. And I don't want you looking around to see who else is choosing what you choose. Okay? So, if you think that this first diagram represents what Noah walked, raise your hand. Okay? Hands down. If you think that the second number line diagram is what Noah walked, raise your hand. Okay. All right. So, I'm not going to come right out and tell you, I'm going to show you. So it says Noah walked 2/10 and then stopped and then walked 5/100ths. Look over here for a second. So if I have 2/10, this is how far Noah walked. Okay, 2/10. And then he took a drink of water. And then he walked 5/100ths. So 5 little tiny hundredths. 5 little tiny hundredths. What does this say? 1/10, 2/10, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10. So the correct number line would be which one?
2.
2.
Second one.
The second one.
B.
Okay. So we're going to put a star next to the second one. And then we're going to write down the second diagram. That's Noah's walk. Because 2/10 is greater than 5/100ths. Does that make sense? So if 2/10 is greater than 5/100ths, then we know that the 5/100ths amount is going to be less than the jump that he took to get 2/10. Evan, does that make sense? Okay, now, if these are all tenths, then in between the tenths, there are 10/100ths. So don't write this down, but I'm going to show you. This would be, whoops, I'm going to make that smaller. So it would be like this. So it's kind of like those are the little hundredths in between. So he jumped 1/10, 2/10, and then 100ths, 200ths, 300ths, 400ths, 500ths. Remember how we split a number line? Normally we just split it in half, but that would just make it 20. We can split it into 10 sections, all 10 sections into 10, and that makes 100. Okay, because what's 10 times 10? 100. So if we've got 10 parts on our number line and we split them all into 10, that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay? So we went from 10/10 to 100 hundredths. All right. So then it says The diagram you didn't choose represents Jada's walk. Write an equation that represents the total distance Jada walked. So Jada walked 2/10 to start with, then what did she walk? Jackson?
5.
Exactly. So Jada started with 2/10, and then she added 5 more tenths, and that got her total walk to what, Athena?
7/10.
Very good, yes. So she walked 7/10 total. And then for Noah, he walked 2/10, and then he walked 5/100. So how far did he walk altogether? Jackson?
7/100.
Nope. Todd? That's exactly what he said.
7.6.
Fisher?
I think you can't do that because you can't add 10 plus 100.
You're right. So we have to do some work. You're exactly right. We can't do this, Jackson, Todd, look, because we have 2 different denominators.
Oh, I knew that. Just I thought that'd be a wrong answer.
Oh, yes, it would not have been. So if we've got one, this is your assignment today, guys. They're going to give you an addition problem. One of them's going to be in tenths, the other one's going to be in hundredths. And you're going to have to add them together. So your first step is to get a common denominator. Now, can you figure it out?
Yeah.
Real easy. So what would it equal, Jackson?
2,500.
There you go.
I was going to say that.
Good. 2,500. You with me, Harbor? Okay. So now we've got it. Let's see who walked farther. So we've got Jada who walked 7/10, and Noah who walked 2,500. Who can raise their hand? There's 3 ways that we've learned to compare fractions. Who can raise their hand and tell me one of the ways? Cameron?
You can put a common denominator.
Yeah. Common denominator. Nice job, Cameron. Common denominator is one of the ways we learned to compare fractions. What's another way? Ari? Yes, comparing to 1/2. And then one other way. Evan?
Cross multiply.
Yes. Cross multiply. The 3 C's, that's right.
CCC.
That's right, I love that. Okay, if we cross multiply, what is 10 times 25? 250, because you do 25 times 1 is 25, and then add on the 0. And then what is 100 times 7, Cameron?
700.
Nice, yes, 700. And you can see 700 is bigger, so 7/10 is bigger. So we've cross multiplied. What if we compared each of them to 1/2? What is half of 10, everybody?
5.
5. And if you have 7, then you have more than half. So more than half. What's half of 100?
50.
And so if you have 25, you have less. So that would be bigger. Or the other way, which is what you're going to do today, is common denominator. We've got a 10 and a 100. The easiest way is to add a 0 to the bottom, and if you do it to the bottom,
You do it
to the top. All right, and then we can see that 70 100th size pieces is bigger than 25 100th size pieces. All right, last page we're doing, and then you do your assignment. Find the value of each of the following sums. Show your reasoning. Use number lines if they're helpful. Okay, Olivia, what's 5/10 plus 1/10? 5/10 plus 1/10. I can't hear you. Tell me what's 5 plus 1. 6. And the denominator stays the same. Okay, makes sense? Okay, so all we're going to do here is 5 plus 1 is 6, and the denominator stays the same. If you want to use a number line, you first jump Zerelda from 0 to 5/10, and then you jump one more tenth. Will get you to 6/10. On the next one, we have 50 hundredths and 10 hundredths. But here's the thing, on our number line, it only has tenths. So watch, we could cross these out and cross these out, and then just do the exact same thing. That is terrible. So 5/10 and 1/10 would be 6/10 or 60 hundredths. I don't like that. Let's see if this will work. Okay. So you jump to 6/10 or 60 hundredths. Okay. Next one. We have to do some work on this one because we have two different denominators. So, Macy, what should I do so that I can have the same denominator?
You add
Add
a 100 to it.
100?
Add a 0.
Add a 0. And where do I add a 0?
At the
Of what number?
10.
And if I do it to the bottom?
Do it to the top.
Okay. All right, Macy. So that gives me a 0 here and a 0 here. So what is 50 plus 30, Macy?
80.
Good girl. Yes. 80 hundredths. All right. Make sure you show that extra 0 on there. On the next one, Harbor, what do I do?
You need to add 0
Add a 0 to what? Okay, to the 4 and the 10. Okay. And have you done that? Okay, and what's your answer then, Harbor, after you add 40 plus 15? Cameron?
65?
No. Colton?
55 hundredths.
55. What I like to do, Harbor, is break it apart. So if I know that I'm adding 40 plus 15, I will first add 40 plus 10, which I know is 50, and then add the 5 more to get to 55. Does that make sense? Okay, so 55 hundredths. Okay. All right. So,
I cannot wait for the quiz.
any questions about that?
No.
Okay. All right, let me start this and I'll give you your quiz.